Welcome to the Tea with Tamara podcast. I'm Tamara Arnold, and it wasn't that long ago that I was a broke single mom, drinking way too much, completely detached from everything. Now I've written multiple books, downloaded I Could Read Chakras, and I'm a channel for the universe. I'm a real person with real stories, and I can't wait to share them with you. So grab a warm bevy, and let's have some enlightened conversation to live our best life. Oh my goodness, you guys, I am so excited to introduce you to Jillian Bolanz. She is a soul sister that I met in a mastermind that we are in together. And from the moment I laid eyes on her, I was like, oh my goodness, she is a ball of love light. Her laugh is infectious. Her smile lights up a room. She is an intuitive life coach, which you can check her out in the show notes. And above and beyond that, she has a podcast herself called Morning Sunshine, of course, with Jillian Bolanz. But we get to go deep into some pretty amazing spiritual conversations about having babies, not getting your period, really connecting to the divine feminine, moon cycles, and so many other juicy tidbits. I'm beyond excited to share this conversation with you guys. So grab your bevy and let's dive in.
All right, everybody. I am so excited because I'm sitting here with my soul sister. We're in Amber Lillistrom's mastermind together, and we have just been chatting before jumping into the conversation and laughing and having such a good time that I forgot that we weren't actually recording the podcast. We need to stop talking because we just jumped right in.
Yeah, so, we just took the nosedive.
I know.
Here we go.
I know, I had to stop Jillian at one point. I'm like, oh my God, my people need to hear you say this. The listeners, so we have to press record. So I'm so excited to share Jillian with you. I'm just going to ask Jillian to kind of give her introductory, lowdown information. This is Jillian, who she is. And then we're going to dive into some sweet energy, chakra, vibrational conversation for you guys today that's really going to make a huge impact in your day, your life, your business, everything. So Jillian, here we go. It's on you.
Oh my God, Tamara, I freaking love you, first of all. Second of all, okay, it's really interesting. I went to an event this past weekend at the time of recording this, and at the very beginning of the day, the leader, the facilitator said, when we introduce ourselves, we tend to say oh, these are my accolades, or this is my work, or this is what my body does. But we forget about the energy centers. And we don't describe ourselves traditionally thinking about those things first. So I have that in the back of my mind. I am going to give the other stuff now because I know that that's where we're going, is the energy stuff. And it's so freaking exciting. But I just wanted to actually pause and give you a major round of applause and your listeners, because you want to go there. You want to talk about the energy. You want to know what's happening in that chakra column, right? That's what this is all about. And I'm stepping into that too. And it's so exciting. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
You're welcome. So I'm Jillian Bolanz. I am a life coach. I am stepping very deeply into the world of energy and spirituality and just really tapping in. I also help women with their businesses. So that seems like a lot, and it kind of feels scattered to some when they hear it. You're a life, you're a business, and you're an energy coach. That's pretty broad. But for me, it's all one and the same. So that's really important for me to note, because at first I had trouble with that. I had trouble disseminating, what am I doing here? But the fact is, when I help my women, when I coach my women, when I serve my women, I feel like the reason I am here in this body on this planet is to help them step into the truth of who they really are, and then build the life, build the business if they want, build the relationships, build the reality that they truly want. That's what is at the core of me. I'm married to the best human on the entire face of the planet. I love my husband so much. We've got 2 little boys, Cameron and Andrew. They are 5 and 2. And I am also a soul who has, over the past 2 years specifically, consciously, though I know it has been all the days of my life, been really on a deep self-discovery journey, self-love journey. And it's like, I'm already getting like the buzzy feeling within my body. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is the stuff that I am meant to talk about, to proclaim, and do so in my way. And of course, it's interesting because you and I were talking about my throat chakra beforehand. So, and I'm still learning that. I'm still learning my own language with it, but I feel it in my heart. Like, there is a burning sensation there of like, yep, this is what you're here for, sister. And ultimately, because I am a mama and I'm a mamapreneur, I have now begun to really not just realize, but own and emanate that my inner work, the work that I teach the women to do, coach the women in doing, but the inner work that really has become a non-negotiable for me is not only so important for me, but the first people who are going to feel that ripple effect are my kids. And when they feel that, they are not only like witnessing mama's doing this, so this is important, but they're just taking it as truth, like, oh, self-love, self-discovery, that's the norm. That's what I'm here to do. And I just feel like as we start to heal ourselves, especially as women, especially as mamas, we get to be the very first touch on the beautiful pond where the ripple effect goes and helps our children on the deepest of levels, so they don't have to do all the work that we're doing. It's more innate for them. It's more natural. And then, of course, the ripple effect will spread into their children and into the entire world, into mass consciousness.
And the whole vibration of
the whole friggin' thing.
Yes. Yes.
And I just take that really seriously. Like,
I love that.
That's a huge deal for me.
Well, and I mean, like, for anyone listening, Jillian, we can actually hear your passion. We can hear your stardust, like actually like flying out of your soul. Like it is so the very essence of your being when you're sharing this information with us, right? And so like I'm just sitting here, you guys, just kind of like, wow, like just being in that vibration with Jillian is so powerful, right? But I have to ask the question because I think that we often hear these interviews and we're like, oh, these people got it. They understand. They're in their, they're in their soul's calling. They're vibrating so high. They're amazing. But was there a time before you knew this is what you wanted to be? Like, how did you find your stardust? How did you step into serving this tribe of women, these mamas that you are so connected to right now?
It's so interesting because growing up, I have always been the high achiever. I loved the external accolades. I loved the pats on the back. I loved receiving love by performing at the highest level and getting the straight A's and, being the rock star on the soccer field and all those things. I was so good at it too. Oh my heavens, did I love it, and was I damn good at it. And so because of that, I started doing the thing, right? Like I started creating that checklist that, okay, do this, go to college, get the job, go get the MBA, get the better job, get the husband, have the baby. Like I was really freaking good at that. I was being groomed for upper management at a very young age within the hospital that I worked at. And all during this time, especially in my mid-20s, I was the furthest away from God, spirit, the truth that I had ever been before. And now I see how that has all worked for me. But I went through a time period in my mid-20s where I was loathing my body, my physical body, crying myself to sleep every night. I was always the bubbly, upbeat one, but the one who was tearing herself down horribly every single day. I also could not get pregnant naturally. So the stress, I was trying to control everything from what I was eating to how I was feeling to the people around me. I was trying to make the people around me validate me enough to love, to really make up for the love that I wasn't giving myself. Like these were dark, yucky days. So fast forward, went through the IUI process with both my boys. Actually,
process, just so that we can.
That's the it's the stage right before IVF, so it's interuterine inception.
Okay.
So essentially, I was giving myself shots in my belly and being monitored both with my blood and internal ultrasounds for a few weeks to try to raise my estrogen levels, which it was my quote unquote problem, is I had very, very low estrogen. And so we're trying to raise my estrogen and grow my eggs to then allow for me to give myself a trigger shot that would immediately send me into ovulation. And so my husband and I had 3 days to have intercourse and hopefully create a baby. So really fascinating stuff. And now from an energy perspective, not surprising at all that my estrogen level was very, very low because I subscribed to the masculine all day, every day. I functioned in that really wounded masculine state for, I don't know, let's see, I'll be 33 in December, 32 years, 31 years, maybe and I recognize it now. And it's just so interesting. So no coincidence there. And now I know that. But at the time I wanted to get pregnant. And so went down this road.
How old were you when you were trying to do it?
I was 26. Yes, because I had my first son when I was 27, my second son when I was 30. Yes.
So is this coming right after all of the body shaming and all of that kind of stuff? So you're going through all that emotional warfare with yourself and then really asking yourself to create the space to hold another being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm angry, but I need you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so grateful because my firstborn, I mean, both my boys have taught me so much. My firstborn is my very, very deep feeler, my deep empath. And it's just so interesting because I've learned more from him than any teacher, any guide I've ever had. It's so fascinating. So had my firstborn and then I started to go back, right? Because like pregnancy was kind of like pushing the pause button for me because like I couldn't have the body hatred. I was growing a human. My body was just doing different things. Like I couldn't judge myself by the number on the scale because that was inevitably going up. Right. So, but after I had him, it was, 8 or 9 months out and I started doing it again, Tamara. Like I started saying, I just wish I could fit back into my clothes and I wish the number on the scale would change. And my husband, God bless him, looked at me. And this was one of my first spiritual aha moments. And he said, don't you do it. Don't you go back down that negative path. Again, you can't do that to yourself anymore. And also what I heard was, and you can't freaking do that to me anymore. Now, he wouldn't have said that, but right. I recognized like, oh, my energy not only impacts myself, but my husband. And there is no flipping way on God's green earth that I am doing that to our son. So I'm going to fast forward through the story now, but I think that that's really important information to kind of go forward now.
There is one piece of the puzzle that I'm still like trying to attach to. Like when you said you worked in the hospital, can I ask what you were doing in the hospital?
Yeah. So I started in the human resources department and then I applied for and I actually took on the managerial role. So I was the practice manager of 2 practices. And I loved it. And I was, like I said, being groomed for like my VP looked at me at one point and she was like, you're going to have my job someday. And I was like, wow, like, of course I am because I'm a high achiever and this just makes sense. And then the baby came and I'm going through all this awakening stuff, all this unpeeling. This is the very, very, very beginning of the unpeeling. And so what happened was I wanted to start to focus on strengthening my body as opposed to being skinny. So strong as opposed to the focus being on skinny. And I started doing what we do in today's day and age, and that was following inspirational people on Instagram. And that actually led me to a woman who is one of my very, very, very deepest friends now. She had an incredible Instagram feed and she said that she was hosting a challenge group and I didn't know, but it was affiliated with a network marketing company. I was all in and it was so fun and I was so grateful. And then I'm in it and she was like, do you know, like you could do this too. Like you could be a coach too. And I was like, wow, like that'd be cool. Make a little side income and like really help women. And while I'm helping myself, no brainer. Well, then I fell in love with it and that's what I wanted to do. So eventually ended up leaving my job at the hospital. I got to be home with my son and do the network marketing thing.
I need to pause you here because I don't
Please
think that people talk enough about this moment because we say it in passing like it is no big deal. Oh, I just left my job and decided to do the coaching thing. Was it really just like, yep, that's the day? Or was there some thought, feeling, emotion working through some deeper things, Jillian?
I was in this space of like, am I really capable of doing this? Like, this doesn't make sense. This wasn't part of the plan. Like, how is this going to look on the resume, right? Like, my very, very human, externally trained self was having big struggle here. My soul was like, whoa, look what we can do. But then I was going through like but what does that even look like? And like, I would have to be raising my son and trying to fit in through the cracks of the day, how this is going to work. And I'm a person that actually really loves work. So I can get easily addicted to, oh my gosh, I got another message. And this was all stuff I had to learn and work through, especially as I'm trying to build a business and build a baby, essentially. Way different dynamics. There was a lot. And ultimately, my husband and I decided to take the leap. There were a number of factors that went into it. Mostly, we really did want one of us to be home and more present with Cameron. That was the driving force. And like, if I got to do this too and make a reasonable income that would, hopefully eventually surpass what I was making at the hospital, then like, duh, right? Like, yes, this is cool. What I didn't know was that this gives me so many goosebumps. This was actually the first step back to God for me. This was the first step back to spirit, to the universe, call it whatever you'd like. And I didn't know it then, but this was when personal development was presented to me. Personal development had never crossed my mind, reading books or listening to audios, listening to podcasts. But this was where, like, through this company, personal development was a thing. So I started to like do the thing and I would listen. I wouldn't necessarily apply. That was a learned trait over time. Yeah. But the more and more I got into it, the more interesting it became. And the more I felt it literally filling my cup. And the more and more I felt it becoming a non-negotiable within all the stuff that we had to do. Like I really wanted to get that in. But going back to my coach and now one of my very best friends, Missy, she is a very deeply spiritual person. And and she's gone through her own journey and discovery with a lot of things. But I just remember looking at myself one night and we were on the phone on a Friday night talking about religion, our parents, our kids, the relationship between all of the above, how it's so interesting when you get to a point where you're like, I love my parents, but I don't need them anymore. Like it's my responsibility to build this, what my soul is calling me to. And so all of these things were happening. And I just thought like, whoa, I just thought I wanted to like learn a better fitness program. And here I am having these conversations. So I'm going to pause here. There's one more layer that I'm going to go, but I know that you always have such really interesting questions that need to be asked. So do you have anything right now?
The only thing, and maybe we're thinking the same thing, is your second child. Where in the story does, prepping, I want to bring the conversation eventually to your cycle and the disharmony that's been in that at some point, but because I think that that's an important precursor to the fact that you had to do all of this work to have your children because you weren't having regular menstrual cycles. Is that correct?
No. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And let's go there because that's so freaking fun to talk about. But so I never had a quote unquote normal period, even through teenage years, but doctors chalked it up to, oh, you're athletic or, oh, your body is just growing or whatever. And then I went on birth control when I was 18, stayed on it until I was 24, right? 24, 25. And so I had a period then, but it was synthetic. It was given to me by the hormones in the pill. And so after I got off the pill, when Michael, my husband, and I were not trying anymore, and my period wasn't coming back, this was when we were like, oh, we got to do something about this. Yeah. So then we dove headfirst into the process that eventually led us to the IUI process.
Right.
So home with, it's so like, we're getting to the juicy part. So home with Camo, doing the coaching thing, and still so deeply in that wounded masculine energy. It was, okay, put the baby down for a nap, pray to God he takes a long nap today, run downstairs, no time to eat, no time to pee, put your head down, no time to communicate with anybody, no time to laugh or to even have like a girl chat. Like, you got to get down there. You've got your power hour and a list of things to do, and boom, 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 grind, grind, grind. I hope that I get more than 4 hours sleep tonight, but I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like, this was my functionality for a couple years. And then we're like, oh, hey, let's have another baby. And because we always knew that we wanted to. Like, if we were so meant to be the parents for two amazing souls, like, that's what we truly wanted. So we did it. We called up the IUI or the IVF place and said, okay, let's do it again. And I had a different belief this time that it was going to work with the first time around. That stress of like, is this even going to freaking work? Like, it's painful. It's emotionally so taxing, and you don't know. Second time around, I'm like, well, it worked before. It'll work again. So it did. I'm so grateful, but it worked the first time. We had Andrew, and he was May of 2016. So the rest of that year was learning how to be myself now as a mama to two boys, still balancing my online business. Baby would be napping on me while I was getting stuff done. Older one was going to preschool a couple days of the week. So trying to do all things. At the end of 2016 into 2017, this is where I say, like, this is actually like where the awakening started. I started to just have a stirring within me of, what do I align with spiritually? I've been reading all this personal development. I've been having these amazing conversations with Missy. I was raised within a religion that I aligned with some of the things, but quite honestly, some of the things just didn't sit right with me. But I knew I craved what I had been depleting myself of, was that community, was that deep connection to something, that source, that feeling. And so I wanted to figure out what I aligned with spiritually, right? Like, very, very pragmatic, very logical. I wanted to figure out what I aligned with spiritually.
Research this and give the information that is required.
Yes. So what I discovered was that actually that was the beginning of my self-discovery journey, because I couldn't figure out what I aligned with spiritually if I didn't know myself. And so I did. I started to really, this is when I got into journaling. This is when I got into even thinking about meditation, because that still seemed real weird to me. But like, hey, if really successful, amazing people are doing it, then it can't be bad for me. So starting to dabble. And then I got to a place where I was like feeling like pretty good. Like, okay, like I've broken through some stuff. I've cracked my heart open. Like, I'm good. This was March. I'd been doing it for like 2 months, and I was like, I'm good. And so I started getting back into like that over-exercising, really over-analyzing my body again. Again, I was at that 9 or 10 months postpartum point, and I started doing all the things to like fix, quote unquote, my physical body. And I got really, really, really hurt. The universe was like, here you go. We're going to slam a stop sign on your face because you're not done. You've only just begun this process, and you're not going to hide behind exercise anymore. And Tamara, honestly, I wasn't even mad about it. I wasn't surprised by it.
2016?
This was beginning of 2017.
Oh, so this is only last year.
This is only last year, yeah.
Okay, no, I think that people don't realize how quickly we can shift our entire beings.
Trajectory, everything, yeah.
Right? Like when we commit.
Yeah, I was just going to say that once I committed to it, I've been on a freaking rocket ship, right? And like you and I have only known each other a few months, and when really, like, I think we've done this dance together in previous lifetimes.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I knew the minute I saw like one video of you, Jillian, I was like, she's my soul sister. I love her. Like, I think I even remember on our first call, I'm like, I really like this Jillian girl in the group, even though I've never actually talked to her.
It's so funny how we just know.
Yes.
It's incredible. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's been just under 2 years that I have been really focusing on this. Yeah, you too?
I need to know. Yeah, well, yeah, no, I launched my business and I started this whole journey in the beginning of 2017 as well. So like we are like on the same trajectory for sure.
So awesome.
But we've skipped over the stop sign. You dropped this bomb that you were hit in the face with a stop.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm hanging on the edge here, Jillian.
So the stop sign came, the universal stop sign came, and I started really, oops, sorry, my computer's going to make a couple quick noises here. My apologies. Okay. So I started to really dig in. Like that's the only way I can describe it. I started putting my pen to paper. I started Gabrielle Bernstein's May Cause Miracles. Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you again. Like, did you get an injury? Did you
you want to know about the actual event?
I want to know what the universe.
You can't read my mind. Weird. So I got a back injury. This was not just like I hurt my toe. And here's the thing. I was doing a program that I did not want to be doing. I did not align with at all. I never have, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could. And I didn't even get hurt while I was exercising. It was later on that morning. I was carrying my baby on one hip and a load of laundry on the other hip. And I tweaked and my back did a thing that actually it did later again that year. But it had never, ever, ever done this. My back has always been kind of a weaker spot within my physical body, but this pain and immobility, like there was no moving. This was an emergent call to the chiropractor. Like, I need help right now. Like right this second. This was, husband, you need to come home from work and take the children because I actually can't function. And so I couldn't move and I couldn't overexert myself and I couldn't get right back on the horse of the exercising. Like I had to, and it's right. So it wasn't just like a finger or a toe. Like this was my back. This was my core. This was you cannot move if your back doesn't allow you to. So I continued getting up early. And so then I started doing Gabby Bernstein's May Cause Miracles, which was an incredibly shifting book for me because I was so resistant to actually doing a workbook. I was good to read the books. I was good to listen to the things now, but I like putting my pen to paper, taking the time to do that. No, but now like it just was clear to me there wasn't an option. And so during this time too, I started like really tapping in and recognizing that I can listen to all the personal development in the world, but if I'm not listening to what I want, to what my soul is calling me to, then I'm again masking it. I'm masking it in a really positive way, but I'm masking it. So got into journaling, started to get into meditating. And then honestly, one thing led to the other. And I invested in our coach in June of that year because I knew I needed to go grander and deeper than I had been within the network marketing world. I wanted my own business. I wanted to help people with life coaching and teaching them this stuff. And I launched that. I created a mastermind. I created an academy. And then we get into and then True Live, my live event. Then we can start getting into
really
all the
fast-forwarding a whole bunch of stuff here. And I know this because I know her. I'm like, we've just gone from I hired a coach to now I've just done
watching all these things. But with all those things, of course, comes that deep unraveling. I was so tightly wound, especially at the beginning of joining this mastermind. And I wanted the quick fix. Like, all right, law of attraction, you say you're out there, like, let's work now. Like, prove it to me now. And I have just been so deeply supported throughout this entire process. I remember our first dinner at my very first mastermind retreat with Amber. Our friend Liza was sitting next to me, and in a restaurant, I went into a deep meditative state with her because she was just asking me all these questions, and little Jillian was coming out in a massive way. And this was the first time that I discovered that I felt like I'd always lived in two lives. It was either or, right?
Yeah.
So it was rock star on the soccer podium, but there was always that fairy princess Jillian, like that playful and that more, I don't want to say carefree. I'm not sure that there is a single ounce of me in me that's carefree, but more playful, more floaty, more calm, fun version of me that I'd always pushed down. I had literally spent my whole life trying to cover her up because she wasn't going to get anything done, and she wasn't going to get the pats on the back. And if you need to get anywhere in this world, you need to grind and prove yourself and force. Like, that's how I always aligned. And so within this meditative state, I recognized this and heart cracked wide open. Like, there have been so many moments of like, oh, okay, this is how I've been functioning in this human experience. Mm-hmm. And then this is what's going on underneath it all. So
my question for you is, like, it was slowing down to hear yourself.
Yeah.
That really kind of started to create the space within you to like call in all of these different experiences and avenues for your job and for your work and for serving and all of that kind of stuff. Is that kind of?
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm learning now even different depths of that. And I'm a 10 on the energy scale. We just talked about this, but before all this work, I was not just a 10, but I was a grippy, buzzy, I have to control everything type of 10. I was an obnoxious 10, to be perfectly honest. And whereas I feel like, because you guys, this is an ever evolving journey that we're on. Like, I still have my moments of that, but I now go into trust and surrender mode. I remember it faster. And if we can remember those things faster, then we get to apply them faster. And it's just been so powerful to witness my own transformation with all of this. And it's so exciting because I know that I'm on the precipice of really being able to guide so many women into this as well. And that is everything. That's everything.
Why we're in these human bodies, is to stand in our stardust and to shine our light. But I want to kind of, for the viewers and the listeners, right? Because one of the pieces of the puzzle I don't think that we all give enough credit to as well is the download, the receive, and then taking action on that, and the space between when we get the information, like, this is what you're meant to do. This is like your calling now, whether it's to launch an online business, to, do a WooCommerce and sell your handmade soaps, like whatever it is, but the power of the receive, and then belief and trusting in it and taking action, because you did list off all of these amazing things that you've done in only just over a year, Jillian. Right? Like the mastermind. So, like, guys, she's in the last year and a bit, not only created a successful online business, right? She has created a podcast. Mm-hmm. She has done a live event, which means, collectively getting a group of people to come and watch her on stage. Things that we, like, for a long time, I couldn't even imagine dreaming about being the person who could do those things, right? And so, like, if you could just touch on the moments where you knew, or that action that you took because you just followed whatever guidance you received.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. You're a really good interviewer. This is so fun. Actually, the very first thing for me, this is going to be really interesting. The very first ping I remember getting. So I had that stirring at the beginning of 2017 that I wanted to really align deeper with spirituality. That was the first, like, shifting stirring. But the first ping I got was, you should do a podcast. That was literally, and I was like, what the hell would I do a podcast? I know, like, give me a microphone, give me a stage, give me whatever, and I will talk and I will love it. And it's so fun for me. But I'm like, what the hell would I actually do a podcast about? Like, I didn't want to do a podcast about my network marketing company and that type of coaching. I knew that I was going in a different direction, but that was interesting because it was that thought that really solidified for me that I was going in a different direction. Now, that was the first thing. I didn't launch my podcast until November of 2017. I got that download in like February or March maybe. And it was the catalyst for me saying, oh, I want to do something different. Oh, well, what would that even look like? Oh, I have spent hours in putting every freebie together I could possibly imagine. I need someone to help me with this. I need a coach. I need some more guidance. Oh, I don't just need a coach. I need that community. I need that sisterhood that I have been shutting myself off from for years. So all of these different things. And then I got into the mode of, well, what would feel really fun for me right now? What would help me to start generating an income by way of doing this new part of my business that I really feel called to do? For me, it was launching a mastermind. I joined a mastermind. It started changing my life from day one.
Yep.
And though I wasn't so far into it, I knew that I could create my own sacred space like that and do it my way. But I knew that it worked for me. So if it worked for me, then it would generally work for the people who were drawn to me and my message. Yes. So I launched my mastermind, and I even pivoted within that. And here's the other cool thing too. I've been a life coach my entire life. Yep. I have called myself every single other name besides what it actually is all along the way. And finally, I've been able to step into and own, like, this is who I am. And it's interesting because it's very easy for me to get into that place of like, okay, what's next? Like, what do I want to create now? And what's coming now? And it's like, those ideas don't even come to me when I am like sitting there wondering what I'm like pen poised and like, okay, I have 20 minutes to figure out what my next major impact on the world is going to be. Ready, go. Like, I can't do that anymore. I have to get into this space of stillness, because when we're in that stillness, we create softness, and it's from that soft ground that the flowers rise. And I have only started to really grasp that recently. And it's been because of the proof of myself over the past year. I've looked back, like, when have I felt most creative? When have I created the most impactful things? And it's when I allowed myself to slow down, because I'll push the pedal to the metal. I'm really good at that, but I'm most creative. I'm most open, and I am most willing to receive when I slow down, because receiving was actually one of the deepest lessons that I got to learn that I was really bad at. I claimed I wanted it. Like, bring on the money, bring on the relationships, bring on the clients, but I wouldn't let myself receive it because I wouldn't slow down.
I think this is one that we all had, like, even I had to tackle the receive, because there was a place where we didn't even receive a compliment. Like, oh, you're really good as an interview, you just said. And your first is like, like, you know what I mean?
What? I am?
But we get to that place of like just learning to receive the compliment as the first space of receiving. I want to go somewhere even more powerful, because
Let's go.
Vibrating with this word. And so I'm just like, I want to know what Jillian's feelings and thoughts and emotions and where this came from, because you're like, I wanted this like ideal, this dream of a sisterhood, of a group of like women who are vibrating or doing the things, right? And so like, I don't know if this is from like a story, like I can say I didn't make a lot of friends with women, like girls, when I was younger. I thought that they were, kind of, we up against each other all the time to get to the space of wanting my own collective tribe of vibrational beings doing the same thing. Like, what's your backstory to really wanting that collective?
Oh my gosh, very deep one. I had one very best friend who was a girl for most, like, preschool through high school. But we were surrounded mostly by boys. Like, we would go down to the playground, we'd ride our bikes downtown, and we would play football with the boys, and we would do that. And then, like, I heard my mom say once, like, and this coming from the girl that has mostly boy friends. And so that solidified me, like, yeah. And like, that was actually, it became like that, like, yeah, that's right. Like, I don't need girls. Like, I've got my one girlfriend, and I like boys better. I relate to boys better. This was just a story that I started telling myself. And then, unfortunately, that friend and I, who's actually one of my very best friends now, again, like, I love her so very much, but we had a little bit of a split in high school when I got a boyfriend, and she had a boyfriend, and it was kind of like fine for it to be the three of us like all the time. But when I got the new boyfriend, which was new to the whole relationship, and of course this is my perspective of it, but as I'm thinking about that, but we had a split within our relationship. So I think that kind of also sent me a signal of like, I don't need women. I'm safer in the company of men. A sidebar, I had two sisters, but I was the oldest, and I took it as my job to be the nurturer, to be the mother goose. I didn't really align as a sister to them until actually the past couple of years. And it's still difficult for me to do sometimes. I would rather like care for them than like hold their hand and like, I don't know, go graffiti a wall with them. You know, like that's me.
Best visual ever, Jillian.
So, and then let me think, like, even college, I had a core group of friends, and one of them and I remain someone, or she remains someone that I speak to, but like not a lot of positive energy there around that. So the story kept presenting itself to me that like I wasn't aligning with women because I didn't have anybody that I could really trust. I didn't have anyone that I could really connect with. So interesting. I never put those two parallels together. Did you see me go like, oh, wait, there's a little connection there. But ultimately, it's just that I've been searching for women who are like-minded and who like I can do the soul dance with. Like I can dance on the surface level for about 8 seconds and then I'm out. Like I can't. I want to go there with people. I just didn't ever feel like there were people that I could go there with, like people that would understand the language of my soul, even before I could really even speak it. And now it's everything. It's everything to me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so, so grateful because I got to kind of heal a lot of that for myself when I said there are women out there that I really can go there with. And it's just been so beautifully life-changing. And guess what it does? It takes the freaking pressure off my husband because that was my thing, right? Like, I had the boyfriends that I could put all the energy toward that would love me even when I didn't love myself. And I was trying to do that for my husband. Or to my husband, or call that out from him. And now it's like, oh, I can let him freaking relax because I can go to my women and ask the questions of them, get the support from them that I actually really always needed in the first place.
And it's so powerful, right? Because you joined the mastermind. I've been in masterminds forever. When you realize that there's that sacred space, right? You can go and you can share, and it's like a container of like everybody supporting and love and rising each other's vibration up. And then the realization that we can create something for others that mirror matches that based on our energetic beliefs and moral systems and values. And I just want to touch on what that is for you, because you have done such a huge transformation lately into the moon cycles, into the sacred sisterhood, into the chakras, into this whole energetic space. How has that affected everything in your life?
Oh my gosh, like I can feel the tears. Like it's just so powerful. So the beginning of 2017 was the stirring of the spirituality. The beginning of 2018 was asking the question, why? For the first time in my life. Because I was always the person, if you give me a to-do list, or if you give me the instruction manual, I'll follow it. Okay, right? Like that's how you're supposed to do it, right? That's how we put this together. I never really asked why. And I always, for a long time, thought like, oh, it's because I'm not creative. I'm not creative. So I'm just going to follow what other people are doing, what other people are telling me to do it. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to have fun. But there's the to-do list. That's why I was actually really successful within network marketing at first, because here's the power hour list. Follow this list, get it done. You're done for the day and you've grown your business. Yay. Like it seems so childish almost, but that's how I functioned for a long period of time. So the beginning of 2018 was when I started saying, well, why? Why don't I get a period? I'm a woman. I have all the parts. Why don't I get a period? Before it was I don't care because it's inconvenient to get a period. I'm more like a man if I don't get a period. I don't have to deal with the nuance and the annoyance of the changing the tampon and all the things, the painful menstrual cycles. And then it became the focus on, I don't care why I don't get a period, just get me pregnant, right? So that was the focus. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing too, I don't regret any of this. This is all just so a part of my growth. And I literally wouldn't have had the experiences this year that I did without those things. So the beginning of this year, I just started asking why. And okay, well, why don't I? it doesn't actually make logical sense if I'm in this logical world. And it doesn't make spiritual, energetic, emotional sense either. And I'd really like, what if? What if I started healing that? What if I started bringing together something that feels innately broken? Because that's the truth, Tamara. I felt broken. I'd always covered it up. I never looked at it. I pretended it wasn't there. But ultimately, my feminine felt broken. I didn't feel like I could truly embody her and emanate her because I wasn't getting this part of me that I had equally shunned and craved for so long. So I started to do the things that felt good, not the things that maybe somebody else would have told me to do, which, doctor will say, well, go back on birth control. Sorry, that's putting a Band-Aid over the dashboard, as they say in women code. Like, that's not fixing anything. I'm not freaking doing that. I want to know why, and I want to heal it. What if I got a period? What if I could align the energy of my body, which I had started to learn, ebbs and flows each and every day within the cycle, because that's what we do as women. Men traditionally have their own cycle, but traditionally can wake up, go to work, go to bed, lather, rinse, repeat. Wake up, go to work, go to bed, lather, rinse, repeat. Women can't do that. We have the time periods of the month where we want to be more creative. We have the time periods of the month where we want to grab our bow and arrow and go out and like just zing it. And it's understanding all like the fluidity and the flow of all that. So I was learning about that. I was learning about the cycle and the different parts of the cycle and how your emotions are impacted during different parts of your physical body. And I started thinking, like, wouldn't that be really cool? Wouldn't it be so cool if I could eat certain foods at different times of the month, because actually that's the best to support your vitality in your cycle? Wouldn't it be cool if the energy that I align with the moon itself could be applied to where I was in my cycle? And I just started learning all the things about this that I was curious about, but I started to go to physical therapy. I started to go to a naturopath. I started to work specifically with my meditating and my own practices to intently focus on the healing of my sacral chakra, my root chakra. And over time, and actually business-wise, because I was so interested in this stuff, in the middle of the summer, I got this crazy download. It was like an infusion. I was just coming out of sleep on a Monday morning, and I had an infusion into my brain of life coaching intensive. And then I was like, but around what? What would that look like? And then my first thought was, when's the next new moon? Or my second thought after that, because I was taking different pills oils and seeds, fish oil and rose oil with different seeds when the moon was in different places. And so I was wondering that for myself. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to do a month-long coaching course about the moon cycle and our energies. So I got to utilize all these things that I was finding really, really amazing and really like super exciting for myself, and help several women who were intrigued and interested about that. And then I freaking kid you not, August 8th, 2018, which is also the day that like the portal was open, I got my first period in 17 years. It was
so emotional.
Oh my gosh, I was feeling all the feels. I was sobbing. I was laughing. I gave my body, might seem weird to some, but I don't think to your tribe. Like, I actually didn't insert a tampon for a couple days so I could physically feel the full flow for myself. I hadn't felt it in forever. And it was the day before the new moon. So
sidebar, I don't actually wear tampons ever.
So cool. So you
period. Why would I put that in my most sacred part of my human body? Like, yeah. That's not what my body wants to do. I don't think this is an abnormal conversation. And
no, that's so powerful.
This is really part of our essence, right? And there are lots of people who celebrate the earth, Mama Earth, by actually going out in each of their periods and, dropping a piece of their blood into the earth to celebrate Mama Earth and the gift of our period and all this beauty of who we are. So I feel you.
So magical. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for letting me share that, because that's been, talk about healing, and I'm still working on it. I have So we're in November. I have had 2 periods, that one and then one more. I kind of skipped a month. And if I were to get it this month, I would be on it right now. I can tell based on my emotions and based on what I'm feeling. And based on the data that my body is giving me right now, I may skip this month, but then I'm like, okay, well, let's see if it happens in December. And maybe then I'm on a 2-month cycle, and then the focus will be on, okay, how can we get that to that regulated monthly cycle? But now it's just exciting. Now it's just like a playful, like, this is really freaking cool.
It is so cool. And I find this really cool too, because like I get my period at the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're saying you get yours at the new moon. And I know that has a significant like effect on people. I think there was somebody that asked that question on Facebook one time. Do you get, and I'm not sure if it was you because I'm talking to you, so it must be you, and I probably might find out that I'd asked that question. Do you get your period near a moon, like near one of the full or the new moons? And all of these women that were like, oh, I'm new, I'm full, I'm new, I'm full. And it was just like that awakening information. You're just like, oh no, this is really a thing. This is really a thing.
Have you heard of the book, The Red Tent?
I have. I just haven't read it.
Yeah. So it's the thing. I mean, it goes into a lot of different stories, a lot of different realms of Dina's life. But Dina, who is the sister of Joseph, many people are familiar with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, like that story. It's Dina's version of her life. It's not really her version of that story. It's her life. But the thing that I found so fascinating was that every new moon, and it was the new moon in that book, in that sense, but the women would go into the red tent, and this is where they would have that sisterhood. This is where they would share those stories. This is where they would be their raw, open, emotional selves, and they got to do that together within that tribe, within that sisterhood bond. And going back to, I got to tell Missy about this episode, but my friend Missy and I read that book at the same time. We read it together, and we have had so many congruences within our 2 cycles. And so we're reading this book about tribe and sisterhood that has everything to do with our period and the time of the month, the time of the moon. And then she and I sync up literally, and we're on opposite sides of the country, but we sync up within our cycles. And it's just it's so amazing. And so that parallels also to that conversation of, you may not know what decisions and what people are going to be so freaking impactful. Like, they may show up in one area of your life and you think, oh, this is why they're here. But it actually, like, that's just the beginning. That's the excuse to get them in your life. And then you're just going to go so much deeper. So be that with a friend or a mastermind or whatever it is. Like, for me, my word for this year has been trust. And as our coach has called me to, that's actually my word of life. And learning and just going even deeper and deeper and deeper. And when I feel like I've trusted, like, trust some more. But it's trusting in all of the processes for us, and trusting that all of the people are being brought to us, and all the struggles, right? Like my body loathing time, the IUI process itself, the job that I didn't like, all the things have led me to here. And now it's like, oh, they make sense. And then I'm like, sweet, like what's going to happen in the future? Because like, there's a lot that's shifting for me now. And you know that from behind the scenes.
I know that you're on the verge of another, because this is the beauty, and this is what I think people don't realize too, is that we never stay static. Static doesn't actually occur. Like, we're constantly shifting, and I always explain it as creating more space within our energetic selves to hold new things and to invite new things in, right? And doing all the work on each of the chakras, it's like we're clearing those boxes to bring in the new, right? And so like, as you've done so much incredible work over this year. There, of course, when you've taken this time to get to know yourself this intently, you want to share. You want to share like the new self and the new journey, and like where you were a year ago. You want to reach back to the person who is going through where you were in January, and say,
totally,
sure, I've got you. Let's do this.
And that's the thing. A lot of my work has been business focused. Like, there's always been that tie to business, like life and business coaching. But now I'm being called very deeply. That will still be there. My mastermind, my academy will remain, and I love them so much. But my next leg of the journey is focusing on life coaching, but life coaching my way with learning how to dream again, and then allowing in that foundational energy acknowledgement and learning. And it's just, that feels so exciting to me and so life-giving. And it's quite unexpected. If you would have told me at the beginning of this year that I would have done something like this, I wouldn't have necessarily believed you.
I know, but I want to actually just like give kudos to Jillian here. So I'm just going to say something. We haven't talked about this, at how powerful this is from my perspective watching you, because the universe has been dropping you hints of this for a while, right? Like saying, like bringing you the same thing, kind of like, Jillian, come this way. And guys, the greatest gift that we can get to is like acknowledging what the universe is placing in our path as being our truth and our stepping, and not being afraid to take that step towards what you know you are meant to do. So I am like giving you like so much love and
thank you.
Like,
I receive
gratitude for stepping in and serving these people, because I saw it unfold, guys. I saw all of this happen in July, when I was right when I met you, that you did the moon month. Like
that's right.
That's right when I met you, into you getting your period. And so like, this is the only Jillian I know.
That's right. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Cool.
Right? So like, I'm like, I've seen like this whole like now thing, because I didn't know you prior to this. Now to see you fully stepping into, you know, that next phase, it's just like, wow, I just love being witness to this. So
it's so fun
to do this together.
Thank you. I receive that. And I'm the feeling is so mutual, sister. Like, I see you. I see what you're doing. You're doing massive, massive, massive stuff out there. And you are doing it with such grace and such excitement and sparkle, like only Tamara can. It's just, I love it.
Like,
it's
Sparkle Sisters.
Freaking men.
We're actually both fairies, you guys. Like, if you were to be like actually in the room with us, like, I actually have myself painted as a fairy right there, right?
Is that really you in that painting?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I am obsessed.
Closer at the end of this. But if everybody's like listening to you, and there are going to be women, Jillian, listen to this, who have like are going through what you're going through, who are listening to what you're saying and saying like, I need to get in touch with Jillian. I need to talk to her. I need her to help me with this. I know that my cycle and the moon and my energy with this kind of stuff is what I need. How can they find you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. And I would be honored to speak with any of the beautiful souls that are listening to this. Social media wise, I friggin' love Instagram. Like, Insta stories are my jam. So it's at Jillian Bolanz. I also have my own podcast, Morning Sunshine with Jillian Bolanz. And then my website is jillianbolanz.com. If you're interested in that Dream Quest 2019, that life coaching and energy stuff, you can just go to Jillian Bolanz /Dream Quest 2019.
I'm going to put all of that in the show notes.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah. But like, I just want to share you with the world, and I want everybody to be in your light, because as you heard at the beginning of this podcast when Jillian was speaking, you could feel that vibration just coming so strongly out of her heart. And if you feel that inclination and that connection, absolutely reach out, because we talked about this in the podcast as well. When you get that connection with somebody, right? Whether it's a mentor, whether it's a friend, you know, that sisterhood, the whatever, those moments of action, that's what you take, like when you feel that vibration and that knowing to take the next step and that version of yourself.
Yeah, come send me a DM on Instagram and just say like, heard you on Tamara's podcast, you know, and like then like I'll know like, oh, this is my person, right? Like these are my people here. Yeah. So and it's me like having the Instagram in my hand and really just going there with people. So I'm here and so honored and excited to serve you, Tamara, and your people. And
I get
so
to be on Jillian's podcast next week, so I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to share you with my tribe. I am like so bursting for it.
All right, guys, I love you. I love Jillian. Thank you for spending this time with us, Tea with Tamara. I hope you enjoyed your beverage and just really sinking into what the universe is offering you here in this moment. We will reconnect on Magical Monday of next week, and I hope you have the most blessed day connecting. Truly.
Hey.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I know.